high tech. There are guys in the military, certain groups around the world that can absolutely do this. Hi, I'm Kane Vincent Dyer. I committed over 100 bank robberies in a period of almost 2 years. So after turning myself in, I decided to form a coaching company that helps people transform their lives. And today we are going to be judging the authenticity of bank robbery scenes in some of our favorite movies. He has on this helmet, so he doesn't need a mask. He doesn't look like he'd be coming in to rob necessarily. It looks like he just kept his helmet on, which guys do all the time. I can really relate to this. Him wearing that backpack. I would sometimes either wear a backpack or a duffel bag strapped around the front, and you can still have the control of your hands. It's the only drawback. If you get any kind of tracker or die pack, you walk off and that die pack explodes, he's wearing it on his chest. This is so real. It typically happens your first time or two. Bank robbery is bad enough, so just to put that out there. And what we know from watching the movie is he's in a really desperate situation. Sometimes the desperation kind of overrides the moral compass. It's very accurate.
How's this dude not in jail after robbing 100 banks? Because he went to jail and then he turned his life around.
It takes a second for him to pump himself up. Yo, get up. He has tape. He doesn't want those gloves coming off, you know, so obviously he's really conscious of not leaving any type of fingerprints. Also, it's holding his sleeve to the jacket down, which could be covering up some type of tattoo. Interesting that he picked a bank with glass. Because of the glass, he's got to throw it over to them. And, you know, they could put any kind of device in that bag. It almost shows more so the desperation that he went into this bank that is secure with glass and everything like that, but he was still so desperate that it didn't stop him. Him having a problem with his motorcycle is something that's sure, it happens.
Dude, it's once again, dude, bike strat OP. Cops should just start shooting out the tires.
They just blow through that red light with all those cars coming.
I can't believe he's doing the bike meta right now, dude. This guy would get caught in no pixel for sure.
I don't think a intelligent
send this to Ray so he has different plans.
You're putting a lot more people at risk. I
can't believe he's trying to fucking power game and do a solo bank job, dude. Fucked up.
I rate this a 9. Going into the bank, leading up to the bank, preparing, getting nervous, everything he did, even the mistakes he made inside were actual mistakes that if you haven't done it, you would probably make. This vault that looks like no one could ever get in except for probably the US military. We have to keep in mind that...
Why does motherfucker keep talking about the US military, dude? What's he trying to say right now? He keeps saying, like, he brought it up before too.
This movie, everything about this movie is supposed to be over the top. Yes, they do have very intricate lock safes and things like that, time lock safes, things that are really hard to get into. But a lot of time during business hours, they will keep certain safes open just so the employees can have access. I learned everything. So every bank I went into, I knew whether it was going to have a safe such as the one that's in this scene, or if it was going to be a regular open door. And if it were like this, I would pass. Unless I found in one of their manuals or knew that they would keep this door open between certain times. Could I get into that back then, where things were more manual? Oh yeah, I mean, it would have taken a considerable amount of time to break into that. That's not like a 3 or 4.
Oh, he's a former Marine. Oh, okay.
Minute deal.
Oh, dude, Larry Lawton covered this too, okay?
You wouldn't have a weapon in there like that unless you had a security guard that was armed. You got to keep in mind, if you shoot that shotgun and he hits that bank robbery suspect, those rounds are probably exiting the perpetrator and going straight into the bank customer or the bank employee.
What bus driver?
That school bus doesn't have any damage on it, and it just crashed through a cement and stone building. And if you remember, it had to go up the steps because when they robbed the building, they went up the steps. So that...
Dude, this is giving me... Yeah, the stair meta too, dude. The stairs are so hit or miss. You know, you can't always be relying on stairs because sometimes the stairs could be your worst nightmare.
Totally Hollywood, right? Definitely a 1. The camera's already got them in, on video. So why even use a mask at that point? Either they should have gotten out of the car, gone straight in with the mask on, or not used anything.
Stay down. We want to hurt no one.
The energy is so on point. How they talk, how they walk, how they move. Even the customers, just the fear that's there.
You know, I've never seen
Heat. Money. The money's still wrapped. This is how a lot of banks will keep the money when it comes in because they're still coming from, basically the factory.
Down. Far East National Bank 1130.
The silent alarm.
I can't be the only one who's always like confused Robert De Niro with Al Pacino, right? Fuck you, I'm unsubscribing.
It's actually going off as they're leaving, which is what employees are actually trained to do. It's less chance of the cops getting there and then having a hostage situation. The police are being alerted as the bank robbers are leaving, which is super accurate. I would actually give it about a 7. The energy is so accurate for the bank robbers, for that team. You can feel the desperation that it needs to get done. They know exactly what they're doing. You can tell by the way they move, where they go. They know the layout of this place.
Against the wall. You, away from the computer.
Bank robberies that are done by a lot of different gangs. This is how they go in and this is how they operate. Just with brute force and sheer fear.
When's the time lock set for?
9 o'clock.
No, it was. It's 8:15.
He asked her something very specific about the bank, which he already knew. I would ask a bank employee a question just because I knew the answer and I wanted to see if they were going to be straight with me or not. I wanted to see if they were going to be nervous, how they were going to respond to the question I was asking. He just wanted to see if she was going to cooperate.
Hold it.
Fun fact, my uncle robbed the bank 11 years ago, inspired by this movie. You mean your uncle robbed the bank and the movie was inspired by him, right? Because isn't this movie not even 12 years old? This movie is like, how many years old is this movie? Holy shit, when did The Town come out originally? Jesus Christ, dude, it's been 11 years since some fucking movie came out. Or no, it's 2010. Okay, there it is.
Silent alarm. This address. You pulled the alarm?
No.
Oh my God. There's no way your uncle watched the movie and immediately robbed the bank. Dude, I can't believe this movie came out 11 years ago. That's crazy. That's crazy.
All employees have silent alarms. That's not accurate. There's very specific people that have the silent alarms that are allowed to push it. Bleaching is something I haven't seen done before. I know why he's doing it, to get rid of all type of evidence. Once you put bleach on anything, everything just kind of dissipates. It's just interesting to me that they're doing that. Like the gloves, they have them so much that covers them up. I would say this movie is a 10. for the realistic way that these guys are just that aggressive, unfortunately, you have a lot of guys that go in and that's how they do it.
He's gonna kill us all. Unless you can give me a giant wad of cash.
I have a plan.
I didn't start robbing banks because I wanted money. I started robbing banks out of desperation in order to pay off a debt that a very dear relative to me had incurred to a criminal organization.
Bro.
When people do a solo robbery and they're trying not to be seen, this is exactly how they would approach it. They would hand the teller a note. They would probably smile at people in line. We can say he makes the mistake of showing his face, but most guys that go in solo like that, they often do that. And they hit these smaller banks and they just hope that the banks don't really link up and they won't get that much attention, but they will go in and show their actual faces. You know, someone's like, why is she moving that slow? She's probably still processing. What they are trying to do is try to give you money that has some kind of detector in it, some kind of tracer, or...
Bro, I don't understand how the fuck you rob a bank and you don't put a mask on. I just don't get that part, no matter what. You know what I mean? It's...
dye pack. And we see the stack. That stack looks a lot bigger. It looks like something he should take. It could be what they call the bait money. A stack that bank employees have put to the side, and with those are the bait money, dye packs, tracers. Here we see him being captured on video. So when I did all of my bank robberies, it was in the end of '99, going into 2000, and you didn't have cameras that were as high quality as they have now. So these old cameras used to be really grainy, so they would have a lot of them, but it's very common to have the cameras coming in. There are even things along doors that will allow a witness to gather even how tall you are. You'll see it in a lot of stores or banks. And when someone passes it, the employees are trained to look where he lines up on that. Absolutely a 10. Absolutely a 10.
There's no hold on this, right?
But you see the man with the briefcase?
Yes?
That's my partner. He has a gun in there. And if you don't do exactly what I tell you, or if you give me any kind of a problem at all, I'm going to look over at my partner and he's going to shoot your Mr. Gwendon between the eyes.
I have done that. I have gone into...
This guy's kind of cool, dude. Like, I like this guy a lot. I don't know why. I just... Am I the only one who feels this way? I feel like he's kind of charming. I'm confused. Is he in prison? No. He got out of prison and reformed. You just fall for the bad boys? Yeah, probably.
To a bank and immediately given instructions, I've looked back at the door from which I came in and told an imaginary accomplice there to make sure everyone keeps their head down, not lay down or hands in the air, but they keep their head down, like just their eyes focused on the ground, and there was never anyone there.
Take one of those big envelopes and put as many hundreds, 50s, and 20s as you can pack into it.
He's disarming her fear, literally, yeah. So it's not bringing any attention to them. That method is a very, very common method. I would say things like that. Even if I yell louder than everyone else, I would tell the person that I was trying to get to do whatever I'm trying to get them to do. I would be much more calm with them versus screaming at them. The rating I'm gonna give this picture is a 10. You know, you would think he wouldn't just go into a bank like that, but people will do things like that, especially if it's a smaller bank and they think that the news isn't gonna travel.
Available units, we have a Bank 211 in progress at the Pico Rivera Savings.
That is super accurate, where they're trying to back down other law enforcement. The FBI agent that was assigned to my case, Patrick Conley, he changed how they went after bank robbers. And a lot of times they would just wait for bank robbers to get caught in the, after the fact, and they get caught doing something else and someone tells on someone.
We've been surveilling these guys for weeks. That's what surveillance is. They commit a crime and then we stop them.
The police aren't working together. In my case, that happened a lot too, because other officers weren't giving Special Agent Patrick Conley the information he needed, or they just weren't used to chasing down actual bank robbers. Anytime he heard something come up, he was always there. Once that silent alarm was hit, he'd also go.
This guy's also a perfect textbook example of like someone who is reformed, you know what I mean? And rehabilitated.
I have never been in that situation where I have been inside and the cops have shown up, but I have been in the situation where as I'm driving away, all the cops are coming into it. The moment I saw all the cops, I rolled all the windows down, turned my music on and started singing. I'm gonna give it a 7.
Wait, what? I'm confused. Wait, what does he mean?
I have never been in that situation where I have been inside and the cops have shown up, but I have been in the situation where as I'm driving away, all the cops are coming into it. The moment I saw all the cops, I rolled all the windows down, turned my music on and started singing.
Dude, he's driving like a local, dude.
I'm gonna give it a 7 because today, I think law enforcement has learned a lot by not communicating with each other.
What the fuck?
This scene here is very high tech. This isn't a normal bank robbery, right? There are guys in the military and certain groups around the world that can absolutely do this. Now, a typical bank robbery, you're working within a certain construct of time, and trying to get in a vault like that, even if you have the skill set to get into it, it would probably take you as long to get in that vault as the sentence you would get for getting into it. I have gone into banks that have safe locks and vaults and time lock vaults and stuff like that. But there is a bank in Spain that operates in this way, where if certain parts of it are triggered, it will flood the actual safe, which holds all the gold. I'll give it a 10 for entertainment, but I'm gonna give it a 1 on the skill set that anyone would have to go do that. I've been waiting to go into a bank, and I've seen a pregnant lady or an elderly person go in, and it's made me either pause or wait because I didn't want to.
See, he's so nice, dude. I want him to rob my bank, dude.
Like I said, a lot of people, when they do this, they're not thinking that they're hurting the individual. They're just taking the money. You're putting a lot of psychological damage and trauma on someone. Sometimes you don't realize that in the moment.
Just the one, Sonny! Right.
This happened in 1972 in Brooklyn. Just a horrible situation when you have this hostage situation. Right now, he's in serious denial. I haven't been in this situation, but I remember even before I turned myself in, making the decision that I wanted to turn myself in, there was just so much back and forth with myself.
They got me on kidnapping, armed robbery. They're gonna bury me, man.
Basically, he's buying time. We're working off survival instinct here now because he knows.
I have the same hair. Is that Al Pacino or Robert De Niro? Come on. See, you can't tell because you just assume they're the same.
You can't go anywhere, but now it's just about survival. I'm going to give it a 10. And were there mistakes made in the bank? Absolutely. Were there things that a normal bank robber wouldn't do in the bank? Yes. But in this situation, all those mistakes played into him getting caught. A lot of bank robbers, especially their first time or something like that, out of desperation, they will just take whatever they can put in. And I've heard about bank robbers going inside and forgetting to take anything to collect the money, but, you know, trying to put everything in a t-shirt, you know. He wasn't prepared.
I think I'm gonna rewatch Baby Driver. Every time I see clips of it, I'm like, fuck, man, that was such a good movie. It's like such a fun, good movie.
For that, which gave him pause, but then he had to jump back into that zone of getting them out of there. So I like that they kind of did that, where they give him this human quality, like, whoa, you know, I didn't expect that, because he's just the driver. That's a situation that could definitely happen. The guy who's engaging them has a Marine Corps hat on and a Marine Corps decal on his car. And that was something that was always on my mind when going into a bank, you know, just wondering if there's gonna be another guy in there like me. He was a Marine like myself. It happened to me where I had a guy who was probably former military or something engage me, come at me, tell me to stop. And I followed the command. I know it sounds weird, but I followed the command because it just wasn't worth physically harming someone for me. Just that scene there, that interaction, I would give it another 7.
Okay,
we saw a lot of violence
okay,
happening,
connoisseur, come
and
on.
it's easy from the outside to say, okay, that wouldn't happen. But heck, that happened.
I didn't know I was in a library when this fucking...
I've been into banks where during the day where you see working crews there, but I would think that this would be something where you'd have working crews like that at night. But if you had to have them during the day, I could see how that guy could be in there.
Everybody get down on the floor now!
Wait, what movie is this? Chat? Inside Man? Another bank heist movie that I haven't seen. Damn, dude. I haven't seen a bunch of fucking bank heist movies that seemingly are great. I never saw Dog Day Afternoon either. There's a lot of fucking movies that I could be watching. This is good. This is good stuff. These are all fucking movies that I want to watch. So, Uncultured Swine. Okay, fucking chill.
I never used a team like that. Sometimes people will get a little violent, unfortunately. And a lot of guys probably think that's the way to instill fear, to get people to do what you tell them. But kind of against that. Once again, we're looking at Hollywood. A bank would be much more secure than that. But a lot of old banks did just have the glass doors. Later on, in probably like the early 2000s, what happened is you started to see banks incorporate this double door mechanism. What that was actually for is to trap bank robbers inside those first doors that they went out of. I don't know if a bunch of serious trained guys were doing something.
Okay, I want to know more. I want to watch more of this guy. Like, this is really good. This was such a good react that, like, it made me want more of this guy's react.
This is probably the way they would do it. So I will rate it another 7.